Every morning, Nairobi comes to a standstill. More than 4 million people depend on East Africa's economic capital, yet a 10-kilometer commute can consume over 2 hours. When heavy rain falls, the city's transport network grinds to a halt within minutes, turning routine journeys into hours-long ordeals. Nairobi was never built for this scale. Laid out at the turn of the 20th century as a modest railway depot along the Uganda Railway, it was meant to be a temporary staging ground between the Indian Ocean coast and the interior. But over decades, that small camp exploded into a sprawling megacity, absorbing millions of job seekers, entrepreneurs, and diplomatic headquarters. As the population surged, residential satellite towns expanded rapidly across Kiambu, Kajiado, and Machakos, while primary economic activity remained locked inside the Central Business District, the CBD. This spatial disconnect created a massive daily bottleneck. Every morning, hundreds of thousands of commuters converge along a few arterial roads like Uhuru Highway, Jogu Road, and Haile Selassie Avenue. For decades, Kenya fought congestion by building wider roads, elevated expressways, and new bypasses. Yet almost every new highway filled shortly after opening, a phenomenon urban planners call induced demand. Kenya has reached the limits of road expansion. Its next transport revolution will happen beneath the city, where planners envision East Africa's most ambitious underground railway. If it succeeds, Nairobi could redefine urban transport across Africa. If it fails, the cost could echo through Kenya's economy for decades. Chapter 2: The Subterranean Imperative. Going underground marks a fundamental shift in East African urban planning, recognizing that surface infrastructure has hit a physical ceiling. Under proposed transit frameworks, authorities plan to construct a subterranean rail spine connecting the densely populated residential corridors of Eastlands directly into the heart of the CBD. Eastlands holds the highest density of Nairobi's working population. For millions living in Kayole, Embakasi, and Donholm, reaching the central business district often means spending up to 2 hours inside heavily congested matatus. A high-capacity electric underground system could compress that journey into less than 20 minutes, moving between 30,000 and 60,000 passengers per hour in each direction. Below ground, stations are designed as multimodal interchange hubs where passengers can transfer seamlessly between metro lines, suburban rail, and bus rapid transit routes without stepping into street-level traffic. Subsequent phases plan to extend these subterranean corridors outward toward Westlands, Upper Hill, Ngong Road, and Langata, creating an integrated transit network across the metropolis. By shifting mass transit underground, Nairobi reclaims valuable surface real estate for commerce, green space, and pedestrian infrastructure, transforming the capital from a choked transit bottleneck into a functional regional hub. Building a subway system requires conquering complex underground geology. The technical proof of concept for deep rail engineering already exists just 25 kilometers west of the capital, the Mbobol Tunnel. Spanning 4.5 kilometers beneath the Ngong Hills, it stands as one of the longest heavy rail tunnels in East Africa. To carve through the Great Rift Valley escarpment, engineers overcame volatile fault lines, high water tables, and loose volcanic soil using advanced shotcrete stabilization and specialized tunneling techniques. However, tunneling through a rural mountain is radically different from excavating beneath a living metropolis. Beneath Nairobi lies a maze of volcanic rock, groundwater, aging water mains, power cables, fiber optic networks, and undocumented utilities. Before excavation begins, engineers must accurately map and relocate these systems while guiding tunnel boring machines, weighing over 1,000 tons and stretching more than 100 meters, beneath skyscrapers with millimeter-level precision. Even minor ground settlement could compromise multi-million-dollar real estate above, making this one of the most technically demanding civil engineering challenges ever attempted in East Africa. The engineering task is massive, but the precedent set by rural heavy rail tunneling proves the capability exists. The real test is executing it in the center of a dense urban core. While engineering presents a formidable technical challenge, the financial equation presents an equally complex macroeconomic hurdle. Deep underground metro systems are among the most capital-intensive projects on Earth. While surface transit lines cost a few $1 million per kilometer, deep urban tunneling can easily exceed $100 to $200 million per kilometer. Kenya faces a delicate macroeconomic balancing act. Taking on heavy foreign debt for capital megaprojects risks fiscal strain, yet economists increasingly argue that the cost of inaction may exceed the cost of construction as congestion quietly drains the economy through wasted fuel, delayed deliveries, lost productivity, and rising pollution. To finance this transformation without overburdening public balance sheets, authorities are evaluating blended finance models, international development funding, and public-private partnerships. The core financial test, however, lies in ticket pricing and operational sustainability. If fares are set too high to recover capital costs, low-income commuters will be priced out. If fares are subsidized too heavily, the system becomes a permanent strain on public budgets. To bridge this gap, planners intend to utilize transit-oriented development, acquiring high-value land around underground station hubs to capture real estate value, generate commercial leasing revenues, and offset long-term operating costs. Nairobi's underground ambitions reflect a high-stakes competition unfolding across the African continent. Across Africa, transportation is becoming a decisive competitive advantage. Investors and multinational firms favor cities where people, goods, and services move efficiently, making urban mobility a key driver of economic leadership. As Africa undergoes the fastest urbanization in human history, regional dominance will be decided by infrastructure capability. Other African capitals are moving rapidly. Cairo set the benchmark by building a massive underground metro system that moves millions daily. Addis Ababa constructed sub-Saharan Africa's first modern electrified light rail. Lagos is aggressively building high-capacity urban rail to unclog its coastal commercial hub. Nairobi's next move will help determine whether it remains East Africa's premier financial and diplomatic gateway or watches competitors narrow the gap. By committing to high-capacity underground transit, Kenya signals to global capital that its primary city is prepared for long-term growth. Nairobi's underground railway represents more than a transport project. It marks a fundamental shift in how African megacities will grow once expanding roads is no longer enough. Integrated with the ongoing redevelopment of the Nairobi Railway City Hub, upgraded suburban commuter rail, and new bus rapid transit corridors, this subterranean network forms the core of an interconnected transit strategy. History shows that great cities eventually outgrow the streets that built them. London dug beneath its roads. Paris expanded underground. Tokyo created one of the world's most sophisticated metro networks. Nairobi now faces its own defining moment. The decision to build beneath Kenya's capital is an investment in how East Africa's economic engine will compete in the decades ahead. If construction moves forward, the most important transformation in Nairobi will not rise above the skyline. It will unfold silently, deep beneath the volcanic earth, where the next chapter of the city's future is waiting to be built.